Welcome to the Ignite Your Spark series here in Life Expressions podcast. I'm your host, Charie Ginete-Ilon. Today, we're going to launch the Ignite Your Spark series, which is very exciting because I have attended the master class of Azim Jamal. And for the series, I think it has, shall I say, transformed my life. And I would like to share this with all of you. And I hope that you would also be inspired by the series, wherein I will have guests and Azim Jamal with me in the whole series that would help us really dive into Spark concept. And to start, allow me to introduce them to you. For more than 25 years, Azim has been an inspirational speaker, best-selling author, and a leadership coach. He is the founder of Corporate Sufi Worldwide Incorporated, a company dedicated to inspiring and empowering leaders to achieve material success, blended with a deep sense of purpose, balance, and fulfillment. His book, The Power of Giving, co-authored with Harvey McKinnon, has been a #1 bestseller on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, been translated in 9 languages, won the Nautilus Gold Award for books that create social change, and even topped Harry Potter for a few hours. His latest and 9th book is entitled Spark: Journey from Success to Significance. Welcome to the series, Azim.
Thank you, Charie. Much appreciated.
Our next guest is the founder of Collins Climate Consulting, Lori Collins. She leverages her extensive experience in financial services, energy, and technology to drive the transition to a low-carbon economy. She played a pivotal role in growing Lending Tree's revenue from $7 million to $473 million. She has held key positions at Bank of America, Fidelity Investments, and American Express. Lori Collins launched clean energy initiatives, including the JOLTS Accelerator, and contributed to North Carolina's clean energy and climate resilience plans. Lori was recognized with the Energy Leadership Award and Women in Business Achievement Award, and she currently serves on the board of the Southeastern Wind Coalition. Welcome, Lori Collins.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here.
And we also have with us the Secretary of the Revolutionary Council and Chief Secretary of Zanzibar, Zena Said. As the Chief Secretary, Zena Said is the head of public service and assistant to the President in the management of public service. She is also the chairperson of the Interministerial Technical Committee. Members of the committee are principal secretaries of all ministries, Deputy Attorney General, and the Executive Secretary of the Planning Commission. Before this position, Zena also held the positions of Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Energy and Regional Administrative Secretary of Tanga region in the Tanzania mainland. Welcome to Spark series, Zena. Can I call you Zena, Minister?
Yeah, sure. Sure, you can. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. I'm so honored and grateful to have the three of you here in the series. And thank you once again. Azim, let us start with you so that they would understand the concept of Spark.
Yeah, I think we're all born with a spark, but for some reason in the journey, we lose the spark. And most of the time we lose the spark because we call it circumstances. But spark does not depend on circumstances. Spark does not depend on inflation or war or COVID. It depends on what's inside you. When you have the spark inside and you rekindle and ignite the spark, there's a twinkle in your eye, your brows are unwrinkled, you have a smile on your face, your heart is open, there's an echo in your voice, there's a spring in your step, and you're flowing and glowing and oozing with energy.
Can you tell us the acronym SPARK?
So the SPARK acronym is S is for service, P is for purpose, A is for attraction, R is for resilience, and K is for knowing.
We have Zena and Lori here with us because, like me, they have attended the master class of Azim, which is Ignite Your Spark. Zena and Lori, please tell me first about your experience attending the master class.
Do you want me to start?
We should go
Yes,
first.
Lori, please.
Okay, great. Well, it was a very impactful experience for me. It was at a very important time in my life and really helped me reinforce and get more focused. So, just as part of my experience with service, I was an entrepreneur, as you mentioned, and helped build a company that was sold and went public. And so I really wanted to give back, but I was very scattered for a long time. I was very unfocused. I volunteered to a lot of things and donated money to a lot of things, but it felt sort of empty. In fact, one time somebody told me I was just a girl who couldn't say no. And so that really hurt because I just gave to everything. And it took a long time to get focused on where I wanted to have my service. And that's probably a topic for one of your future podcasts. But um, I think one of the things that we learned in the course with Azim is saying no for a deeper yes. And I know we'll probably come back to this topic, but it's something that you hear a lot. But I realized, yeah, that I did that, and it was it really helped me. It's something I did over time, but that ability to say no for a deeper yes, I think, is a really important premise from the course.
Yeah, thank you. Lori, Zena?
Oh, thank you, Charie. The masterclass was very insightful for me. The sharing of experience of other people, to start with the definition of the spark, components of spark. It helped me affirm what I was doing. So I've been doing some of the spark concept for a long time, but I didn't have a name for them. But having a spark and the component, now it gives me a name, it makes it easier for me to share with other people. Because you'll be telling you have resilience. By having resilience, what do you mean? So the class, the definition which was provided by Azim, and then the sharing of experience with other people actually affirmed what I was doing, but also encouraged me to do more through the explanation which was given through the class.
Yeah. Both of you have notable experiences in service, and today we will really dive into this concept. Azim, in the master class, you have told us that there are three components of service. Would you care to share this with us?
Yeah, so the first one is service mantra, whereby you apply your service in the areas that you are most gifted at, so that you can make the highest impact with the least effort. That's the first one. The second one is a secret sauce. And when I say secret sauce, I like Tabasco, I like sriracha, but secret sauce here is not the sauce that you put in curries, but the secret sauce here is doing a little extra. When you do a little extra, you go from ordinary to extraordinary. It makes all the difference. You don't settle for expediency. And the third part is the concept of Namaste, where the divine in you bows down to divine in others. So you treat people with respect, you treat people with reverence, you treat people in such a dignified manner that you have long-term relationships with them, a long-term connections with them, a long-term trust with them.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's what I really wanted and learned from service in the master class. Lori, how has this changed your perspective in doing service?
Yeah, there were some really great things we talked about in the course, and for me, it was helpful to hear that we had 36 people from 16 different countries. So we had a lot of perspectives, and folks had a lot of the same concerns. Like for one, I think service feels a little risky at times because you're giving, and you can be a little concerned about, am I giving too much? Am I a doormat? Are people taking advantage of me? And you realize everybody has that same concern. And Azim really helped us think that through. I don't have all my notes from what we talked about, but he really helped us think that through, so that you feel that you are giving in a way that's appreciated and that is adding value and is congruent. I think one of the big concepts was this idea of being congruent, that if it's part of your ultimate purpose and you can move things forward, you can't worry about whether or not the other person appreciates it. It's part of who you are. And also, just for me, like having that focus that I'm not giving to everything scattershot. It's the saying no for a deeper yes. and having the highest impact. That's one of the things Azim talked about, that did you have impact? And when you're getting more requests for service than you can handle, to think through, where am I going to have the most impact? That's the one I'm going to say yes to first. And so just some little tools and guidance like that, I thought was very, very helpful.
Yeah. How about you, Zena?
Oh, yes. Service actually is something we all provide one time or another. And sometimes we deal with people directly. Sometimes it's just advice or a service we provide to our companies. And we can be successful through service. However, success alone is not enough. We need to be fulfilled. So to be fulfilled, we learned through the spark that you have to provide service which has an impact to other people. And to have an impactful service, like Lori said, and the class taught us, the service has to have three main ingredients. What is your purpose while serving? So you have to have this service mantra. Personally, my service mantra, which I think I have crafted after this course, is to always provide, give kindness while serving. So whenever I am serving, I ask myself, how can I be, can I give more kindness? And then another aspect of it is to have the secret sauce, like providing or giving more than what is expected, without even without even wanting to be maybe praised that you are great, or you just give more than what is expected. And the third aspect of the service, it's the Namaste concept. And this is realizing that we are all divine people, divine creatures. The outside should not cloud us and discriminate against each other. So we have to have uttermost respect for everybody. So we should all cast aside the programming we had, the conditioning we have, the outer looks, and just like Azim said, bow to the divine path of each other. And when we do that, we will have utmost respect to everybody without even without having string attached.
Yeah. Can you share with us your personal experience in doing service with kindness?
So you see, because I interact with the different people at my level, I assist the president in service. I am also interacting with ministers. I'm interacting with the principal secretaries. I'm also interacting with citizens who want to see me. They think and hope that whenever they see me and talk about their issue, they'll have a solution. So each one require a different thing. So when, for example, I talk with the citizens, when they come with their issues, when I give a listening ear, that is part of spreading kindness. Because they have been burdened, they want somebody to listen. So I have to listen attentively and then try to provide a solution. A solution could also be an advice to give. So to be kind, sometimes you can serve people, but in an aggressive manner, and that is not kindness. So I try to be kind depending on the situation. Sometimes even smiling is providing kindness. When you give advice, is providing kindness. When you help somebody in a certain manner, that is kindness. So what I say is, like, we have all to speak kindness. Kindness is a universal language which everybody will understand, even the people who don't want to speak it. Because with kindness, you can speak through words or you can speak through actions. So we have to choose kindness whenever we interact with people. But the most important thing is to be kind to ourselves. Charity should start at home.
Amazing. I totally agree with that. How about you, Lori? What's your service mantra?
Yeah, I was thinking as Zena was talking, I'm almost a little bit on the other end. My service mantra is that I get things done. And to Zena's point, it's important to balance the task with the relationship. And sometimes I can be so task driven, but I think that's my service mantra. I get things done. And I just have to accept that, I'd like to be, sometimes I feel like I want to be the strategic leader, which I can also do that as well. But I think that's where am able to bring the most value. And I'll give is it okay if I give an example?
Oh, yes, please.
Okay, so I'm on a federal advisory board. I live in the United States and I'm on a federal advisory board. And recently they asked me to lead an effort that I thought, I'd like to do it and I have time to do it, but I didn't feel like I had the expertise. I felt like I'm a little out of my element here. And I told them, I feel like I'm a little out of my element. And they said, Lori, we need you because you know how to drive a bus. And I thought, okay, that's my service mantra, So I thought, okay, I'm going to take this on. I'm a little unsure that I have the expertise, but I realized I could keep it going. I could move it along. There was a lot of politics and a lot of relationships to maneuver, but I was able to pull out the expertise of other people and sort of work through some of the conflicts that came up. And we are launching the program next Tuesday, and we already have dates for the follow-on for the remainder of the program. So I thought, that I have, that's embrace it. Embrace it. That's what I can do best. You always, to Zena's point, you always have to be kind and be very protective of relationships. But I thought, okay, I've been successful with it, with getting the program launched and making the whole team of people feel engaged and that they contributed. So that's my example.
You got things done. Your comments on their service mantra, Azim.
Oh no, yeah, I think the clarity of your service mantra is not common for most people. They don't even know what a service mantra is. They don't know what to say no to. I mean, you can only say no for a deeper yes if you have a deeper yes. If you don't have a deeper yes, you can't say no. So deeper yes is part of clarity of knowing what your service mantra is. What's your gift? What's your birthday gift? Which ties with the other part of the spark. So when you know this is where I play my best game. And the more I play in my best game, the more I can make the highest impact, the more I can get more done in less time. Now, of course, yesterday I went to mosque to pray, and I took my wife. My wife is not feeling well, and somebody asked me to do a service that would require me to stay there longer, and I couldn't help my wife with her requirements, and I had to say no. And I was looking for the person after the prayers to tell him why I said no, because I told him about my wife, but it was so short that he might have felt that I just discounted him, and didn't do the service. And during the prayer, it was affecting me a little bit because, I don't like to say no to service because I believe in service, because I believe that service or giving is the most potent force in the universe. There's nothing much more powerful than service, right? And when you serve, you tap into your genius. So we want to serve, but you can't serve everywhere 24 hours a day, because then you'll be serving in many areas that are not your gift and compromise where you can add the biggest bang for your buck, right?
Yes, that's true. Now let's reveal your secret sauce, because there is a secret sauce too in doing service. Let's start with you, Lori.
Uh, so the secret sauce, I thought about this a little bit and trying to differentiate it from the service mantra. So the secret sauce, as Azim defines it, is going a little bit extra. Also for me, the secret sauce has been that congruence, because it's easy to feel like you're pulled in lots of directions. And one of the things that Azim really honed in on was that the more that everything is congruent, that your family life, your friendships, your extracurriculars, your career, the more you have congruence, you don't feel so pulled and torn. And that's also what Azim was just talking about. You can't say yes to everything. So that congruence has been very, very helpful to me. And I'll give another example.
Yes, yes, please.
Okay, something came up this summer. I was asked to speak in New York City at the Asia Society and as the guest of the World Bank. And I was super excited about this opportunity because I felt that it gave me an opportunity to talk about something I'm really passionate about, to be in the room with thought leaders, to potentially bring to the group my point of view on the topic. So I was very excited, but I didn't have a client to pay for my travel expenses. And I felt that, this is sort of work. I should have the client pay for it. But so I struggle with that a little bit because otherwise it's just service. And I thought, you know what? It's so consistent with everything I'm about. I'm just going to take this leap. Plus, it was very personally fulfilling, and Azim helped me with it quite a bit. So I went ahead and went. It was just a high for me. Somebody asked me, why do you want to do this? And I said, this is like going to a rock concert for me. I get to be there with all the people who I think are the thought leaders in my area. So I did it. It was personally fulfilling, but also, as it turns out, it doesn't always work out this nicely, but it turns out a lot of the things that were discussed that day are becoming building blocks for work that I'm now being paid for. So already this month, I have earned enough money that more than offsets the investment I made in June. And so that was just and it doesn't always work out that way. I think you have to know you may or may not get paid back for it. In this case, it worked out great. But the main thing is, I felt like I wanted to, for me, it was service because it was bringing some thoughts to the group. They wanted me there. I gave them a lot of reasons to change their mind, and they kept saying, no, we want you to come. And so it was very fulfilling.
That's great. And you totally rocked in doing that.
It felt pretty good.
Yes. How about you, Zena? What's your secret sauce in service?
The secret sauce, actually, I think it's not one thing, because depending on what you're doing, because as it was defined, is going an extra mile, just doing a little bit more of what you are doing. So since my service mantra is spreading kindness while I serve, depending on what I'm doing, the secret sauce will change. As you mentioned in my bio, I am the chairperson of the Interministerial Technical Committee. So in that meeting, actually, we discuss papers of various kinds. It could be maybe a bill we are going to enact, a law. So what I do in that, I make sure that I read every document which come before I go to the meeting and provide comments. So to the people who bring those paper, actually, they appreciate because they feel that I have given importance to their paper enough time to read it and provide comment. So that is going a little bit. I could have, like notes saying that, I'm so busy, but I wake up at the middle of the night, making sure that I read before I go to the meeting. So to that, that one, I also define it as a secret sauce. If
Yeah.
I'm listening to somebody who has come with the problems, that sympathetic ear, it also, I think, adding an because they expected for me to just listen, but to listen and understand for what they are going through. I think that is also a secret sauce. So secret sauce could change depending on the situation and what you're dealing with.
Yeah, that is true. How about you, Azim? What is your secret sauce?
That's a great point. I think, if you want to feel special, if you want to feel a personal spark, when are you going to feel that? You're going to feel that when you do something extraordinary. You're going to feel that when you do something special. When you feel that when you're playing your best game, your best version of you. To be the best version of you, you have to give all wholeheartedly. I mean, in Lori's example, she mentioned about not being paid to go to the place. So there's a tangible and intangible benefit. The tangible is the money you get. The intangible is the fulfillment you get, the joy you get, the happiness you get, and the byproduct becomes long-term. Giving is such a thing that you cannot give without receiving. If you have closed fists, you cannot receive. The more in the flow of giving you are, the more giving flows through you. The more in the flow of abundance you are, abundance flows through you. As you keep on giving, you keep on creating. A cow which stops giving milk cannot create more milk. A tree which doesn't give out fruit, the fruit falls down and rots. A river which stops flowing stagnates. So when you stop giving, you stop creating, you stop innovating, you stop receiving. So the secret sauce is always being special, always being at your best version. And when you do that, the rewards are not just tangible, but also intangible.
Yeah, wow. Yes, I actually am experiencing intangible effects now doing this podcast. How about Namaste? One of the components that I truly appreciate in the masterclass is learning Namaste. The divine in me bows to the divine in you. Zena, please share with me some examples of how you have lived this Namaste concept in your active service.
Thank you, Charie. We have been conditioned, whether you like it or not, and sometimes we become very judgmental, and that make us not connect with other people. So through this masterclass, actually, we have been we learned that we are all divine beings, and we have to go past the outer appearance and have utmost respect with other. Everybody has something to give if you are willing to receive. And everybody has something which he can teach or she can teach if you're willing to listen. So I think we really have to realize that we have to be open. And when we are open, it's easy for us to receive, even from people we didn't expect. So have utmost respect to everybody, because we are all divine creation. And as the Namaste concept say, the divine in me bow down to divine in you. So always respect everybody, irrespective of how they appear to you.
Yes, true. And you, Lori?
The example I'm going to use for Namaste is that I talk to a lot of young people in particular that want to do something in sustainability. They want to bring their career to climate change, and they don't know how to get started. There's not a career path for climate change, which is what I focus on. If you want to be a lawyer or a banker or an engineer, there's a clear career path. And so a lot of times, everybody from friends, parents, a lot of people will say, we don't know how to help you, go talk to Lori. And so I do talk to a lot of young people in particular, and I'll give a particular example where this was really special to me. I was going out to Arizona to visit a friend, and also my nephew is out there, and someone asked me, oh, if you're going to be here, will you speak to our students? And so I thought, I'm really going out there to visit my friend. Do I want to spend half a day over at Arizona State University, talking to these students? And so I had to sort of think about it. Do I want to spend, my limited time in Arizona? But I decided to do it because I felt like it was also somebody from this federal advisory board asking me to do it. It was a good relationship builder. So I sort of thought it was service, that I was doing it for them. But I got so much out of it. I had a really great time, and I, just came flooded out of me what I wanted to say. And I got so many questions. And then they asked me, please, if you can possibly stay for lunch. So I'm thinking, okay, now this is taking more time away from my nephew and my friend. But they said, can you please stay for lunch? So I stayed, and I went to every table and talked to the students, and there were some faculty there as well. And I realized I'm just vibrating. I'm so excited about speaking with these students, and even some of the faculty. When they were in their 20s, they're still, quite young. And I think about 5 people followed up with me and wanted to have some one-on-one discussions. And I thought, I think I might have a book in me. Maybe I should write a book about this. It was the first time I thought, I'm telling so many stories to these folks about how I got into this career path, and that whether you're an artist, an engineer, there's a way for you to serve in this area of climate change and sustainability. And so, it gave me a lot too. I thought maybe I have a book in me about this.
That's wonderful. Yeah, when you're the first to give, when you do your best, when you just think about other people first, you more ideas come to life, right? And more things that you can do to serve. Azim, what are your insights on this, on the power of service that we incorporate in our lives?
Yeah, I think, what Lori was saying, the example is put your hand up. When you
Yeah.
ask to serve, put your hand up, and you'll be surprised what comes in, right? I went to serve as refugees. This is how I changed my career from accounting for business to accounting for life, because I cried like a baby. My soul was shaken. I wanted to jump off the cliff backwards and do this kind of work. And yes, I struggled, but I found my birthday gift because I put my hand up. So
Yeah.
in service, when you put your hand up, she wants to write a book now. It would never happen if she wouldn't put her hand up.
Yeah.
So in service, you want to put your hand up. Of course, you have to realize you have to apply your service mantra. But in her case, it was going to do something that is part of her service mantra. So that's one part that came to me when Lori was talking. When Zena was talking, I realized the respect to others is a respect to yourself. When you're respecting others, it's the same way you're respecting yourself. If you respect yourself as the highest noble person, you respect others the same way. Yesterday's example, after I said no to this person for not doing this activity because I had to look after my wife, and then I wanted to compensate somehow. So my wife was busy talking to other people. So I was going out of the mosque, and I said hello to somebody. I half recognized him, and he said hello. And then he came back and said, "Hey, oh, I didn't recognize you." And so I talked to him for 10 minutes, and I haven't met this guy for many years, and we really connected because I was totally into it, because I wanted to do namaste to compensate the no I said for the other service, right? It was a really good bonding. And then I bumped into another girl, she's from Seattle, and she said, "Oh, I have your book on my shelf." And so we talked, and she reminded me of her name. And then I bumped into her with my wife, and I remembered her name. So small things I did, which was to me going out of my way to do the extra sauce, secret
Yeah.
sauce, and at the same time, namaste, to compensate what I said no to.
Yeah.
So really, it's about wanting to do something, respecting yourself for who you are, and applying it in every which way you come across. And I'm talking about examples from yesterday. So it means every single day we get opportunities to do things that are out and about normal things, but how they are done with applying your service mantra as much as possible, applying your secret sauce by doing a little extra, and applying that namaste, the respect to others, the respect to you.
That is wonderful. True. Zena and Lori, finally, what would you like to share with our audience to encourage them to serve? As we say, service to humanity is the best work of life. It gives you fulfillment, gives you happiness. Let's start with you, Zena.
Kishari, while serving, you could sometimes be in a position you need to make a choice because you have to either serve this or this, and the timing overlap. For example, today I was invited at an event where I will just be a participant observing what is happening. But I was also invited at another event where I was a guest of honor. So I had to choose that one because I think I will have more impact because I have time to talk and maybe give advice. So when you have in that situation where I have to choose what is going to give most impact. And then, like this secret sauce. I told them I have another event I need to prepare, so I won't be staying for long, maybe 1 hour. But I ended up staying for 2.5 hours. So I went an extra mile, and they really appreciate that. They appreciated that, and I left just before they finished the event. And at other time, not related to today, but I normally like to share my life journey with other. At one particular event, it was a youth forum, and I told them that you have to really know what you want, because for the young people, they keep on changing what they want. So I gave them an analog of a restaurant. If you go press an order, and then when start preparing, then you cancel it, make another order, and then cancel it, make another order. So when you keep changing what you want, you will be late receiving it. And then you will be blaming that I'm not getting what you want, but you are canceling the order, just like in the restaurant. Be focused what you want and work on it. And then you don't have to be perfect. Just start doing what you want to do. And then finally, I also tell them that if you don't shoot, you don't score. And I gave them example relating to me where I thought I was not qualified in certain aspects, but I tried it anyway and I ended up getting the job. Just 2 weeks ago, one young man approached me and said that, I follow you. I am so inspired with you. And you gave me advice, which I followed, and it really helped me. And you told us if you don't shoot, you don't score. He saw an advertisement for the job. He was not qualified, and the deadline had passed, but he applied it anyway.
Yeah.
They ended up calling him, and then he got the job with the salary higher than he expected. So he said, "I'm always praying for you." So sometimes when you share your journey, it helped them get into perspective. They don't know the struggle you have passed through. They think maybe you have just, landed this position in a very easy manner, while you also went through, hurdles to reach there. So sometimes the best way you can do also is to share your journey, like Azim is sharing his journey. It helps inspire us.
True. Yeah. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Zena. How about you, Lori?
Gosh, it's just a lot. I'm trying to pull together the best thoughts. Several things I want to build on that Azim said. He said it so well that, service gives you a lot of energy. And when you're serving, it creates traction. There's more things that come from that. I think some of the key things that I've learned in my personal experience, and we also reinforce in the Spark program, was this idea of congruence that gives you more inner, just feels more like inner peace if what you're doing is in congruence with your purpose, focusing on the most impact. And, another thing that wasn't necessarily discussed in the course, but it's something I've learned along the way, is that when you're giving, it is okay to give on your own terms. It's sort of a little bit like what Zena was saying about know what you want. That, I can give an example where when I first started working in this area of climate change, and I was, trying to uh, participate and give, but then thinking, well, okay, how am I going to make this work? So, I contributed to several papers, and I just asked, can I be listed as a contributing author? Because I was doing it, just because it's something I cared about, but also sort of thinking about my longer term career. And, they were happy to do that. They were like, sure, of course. And for me, it gave me the motivation to keep going. And I think in the long run, it helped the organization, because then when I was taking on more and more work with that organization, I had a track record that I had been a thought leader in my space since like 2017. So it helped everybody in the long term. But I think that idea of knowing what you want, as Zena said, and kind of tying that to, you can serve on your own terms
True.
around what makes the most sense for you to keep your own motivation.
Yes, that is wonderful. Thank you so much, Zena and Lori. This has been great. And just hearing about your secret sauce, how you live Namaste and your service mantra, it's truly inspiring. Azim, next series, we will talk about purpose. But for those of you who are listening to this podcast, explore your journey. You start your service journey as well and be inspired by the stories of Zena and Lori, and then you can inspire and ignite your spark through service. Am I right there, Azim?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, service is instantaneous, it is continuous, it is eternal. As you serve, you feel good right away. You don't have to wait to feel good. Whenever you do something good through Namaste or through Secret Source or to your mantra, you feel good instantaneously. And also, you put a seed that is continuous. It keeps growing. It keeps growing. The more you give, the more you create. And it's eternal, because when you die, you don't take what you have, but you take what you give.
That is
And
true.
what you give comes with you is eternal. So it's instantaneous, it is continuous, it's eternal.
Yes. And for those of you who would want to have a one-on-one session with Azim, there is an upcoming masterclass on Ignite Your Spark. There's a part 2 to Ignite Your Spark series, or Ignite Your Spark masterclass, correct? And they can register through the link that I'm going to share here on the podcast. You can take a look at the screen. And of course, it's also on the comments of the podcast so that you can register to the upcoming masterclass. And next part of this series will be about purpose. So please keep on looking out for Ignite Your Spark series on Life Expressions. Again, thank you so much to my guests today. It has been my honor listening to your stories, and you're both very inspiring. Zena Said and Lori Collins, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Charie.
Do you already know what you want and why you do things the way you do things? Perhaps you need to find out what your purpose is. I encourage you to subscribe, share, and of course, listen to Life Expressions on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or YouTube. Once again, my guests are Zena Said, Lori Collins, and Azim Jamal. I'm your host, Charie Ginete-Ilon. This is Ignite Your Spark series on Life Expressions.
Thank you.